Rob woke up and saw he was in the hospital. Rob's boss, Superintendent Steve Regent, was sitting beside him. "Relax, Rob, you are in the hospital," said Steve. Rob asked what happened, and Steve said there were 4 bombings happened. But the police couldn't catch the killer yet. After the blast, Rob miraculously survived. Steve then gave a letter with a cryptic message to Rob. "Rob, solve this cryptic message and find Mark," said Steve. Rob looked at the letter and saw that it was written in a strange code. He recognized it as a substitution cipher, where each letter of the alphabet was replaced by another letter or symbol. He tried to decipher it, but he couldn't make any sense of it. He asked Steve if he had any clues or hints. Steve nodded and said that he had found a book in Mark's hideout, where he had written some notes and diagrams. He said that the book was about ancient languages and symbols and that Mark seemed to be fascinated by them. He said that he had scanned some pages of the book and sent them to Rob's phone. Rob checked his phone and saw that he had received several images from Steve. He opened them and saw that they were pages from the book, with Mark's handwriting on them. He noticed that Mark had highlighted some words and phrases in different colors, and had drawn some arrows and circles around them. Rob studied the images carefully and tried to find a pattern or a connection between them. He realized that Mark had used a different ancient language or symbol for each puzzle he had sent him. He remembered that the first puzzle was about the letter E, the second puzzle was about the keyboard, the third puzzle was about the name, and the fourth puzzle was about the stamp. He looked at the images again and saw that Mark had highlighted the following words and phrases in different colors: Etruscan alphabet, red; QWERTY, green; gnomon, blue; postage stamp, yellow. He realized that these were the keys to solving each puzzle and that they corresponded to the colors of the puzzles he had received from Mark. He looked at the letter again and saw that it was written in purple. He searched for a word or phrase that was highlighted in purple in the images. He found one, Ogham. He learned that Ogham was an ancient Irish alphabet, consisting of 20 characters formed by groups of 1 to 5 straight lines or notches. He also learned that each character represented a letter or a sound. He compared the letter with the Ogham alphabet and tried to decode it. He found out that it read, "You have 1 hour left, Rob. Meet me at the old church on Main Street. Bring your gun and your badge. This is your last chance to catch me." Rob felt a rush of anger and determination. He knew that Mark was lying about the time limit, but he also knew that he couldn't waste any more time. He knew that he had to face him and stop him once and for all. He got up from his bed and grabbed his gun and his badge. He told Steve that he had solved the message and that he knew where Mark was hiding. He asked Steve to send a backup and to alert the media. He ran out of the hospital and got into his car. He drove as fast as he could to the old church on Main Street. He arrived at the church and saw that it was dark and deserted. He entered cautiously, holding his gun in front of him. He saw Mark standing at the altar, holding a knife in his hand. "Hello, Rob," Mark said with a smirk. "Hello, Mark," Rob said coldly. He aimed his gun at Mark's chest and pulled the trigger. But nothing happened. He realized that his gun was empty. Mark laughed and said, "Did you really think I would let you come here with a loaded gun, Rob? I hacked your phone and sent a signal to your gun to eject all the bullets. You are defenseless, Rob." Rob felt a surge of fear and anger. He threw his gun at Mark and charged at him. He tackled him to the ground and tried to grab his knife. Mark resisted and stabbed Rob in the shoulder. Rob screamed and punched Mark in the face. Mark dropped his knife and grabbed Rob's neck. He squeezed hard and tried to choke him. Rob gasped for air and reached for the knife. He grabbed it and stabbed Mark in the chest. Mark let go of Rob's neck and coughed blood. He looked at Rob with a twisted smile and said, "You win, Rob. You win." Rob got up and staggered away from Mark. He saw that Mark was still breathing, but barely. He picked up his phone and called Steve. "Steve, I found Mark. He's at the old church on Main Street. He's alive, but wounded. Send an ambulance and a SWAT team. And hurry, he might have more bombs planted somewhere." "Rob, are you okay? What happened?" Steve asked. "I'll tell you later, Steve. Just get here as soon as possible," Rob said. He hung up and looked at Mark again. He saw that Mark was staring at him with a twisted smile and a glazed look in his eyes. "Rob, Mark said in a weak voice. "You are so predictable. You always follow the rules. You always do what you're told. You always try to be the hero. But you don't understand anything, Rob. You don't understand me." "What do you want me to understand, Mark?" Rob asked. "I want you to understand that this is not a game, Rob. This is not a puzzle. This is not a challenge. This is my art, Rob. My masterpiece. My legacy. I have created something beautiful and unique, Rob. Something that no one else can ever replicate or surpass. I have shown the world my genius and my madness, Rob. And I have chosen you as my witness and my partner, Rob." "Partner? What are you talking about, Mark?" Rob asked. "I'm talking about you and me, Rob. We are the same, Rob. We are both obsessed with puzzles and mysteries. We are both driven by curiosity and adrenaline. We are both bored with the mundane and the ordinary. We are both looking for something more, something deeper, something meaningful. We are both artists, Rob." "No, we are not the same, Mark," Rob said. Rob felt a mix of relief and disgust as he watched Mark being escorted to the prison van. He had finally caught the notorious puzzle killer who had claimed the lives of thousands of people in a twisted game of revenge. He had also learned the truth about Mark's past and how he had suffered at the hands of Jake and his father, the policeman who had killed his mother. Rob wondered if he could ever understand Mark's pain or his motives. He wondered if Mark was a victim of his circumstances or a monster of his own making. He wondered if Mark had any remorse or any hope. He wondered if Mark had any humanity left or if he had lost it all. Rob also wondered if Mark was right to take revenge. He wondered if the society was to blame for creating people like Mark or for ignoring people like Mark. He wondered if the people deserved to die or if they were innocent bystanders. He wondered if justice had been served or if it had been perverted. Listeners, what is your thought on this? Do you sympathize with Mark or condemn him? Do you agree with Mark or oppose him? If you have an answer, write it down in the comments section.